It's time. Let's do it. We haven't heard from him in a while, so let's check in on Lindsey Graham. Someone, I've just decided to make this a staple of every Graham segment because it really occurs to me. Someone who every time we cover, somehow I get more sad. He omits sadness. Not omits, emits sadness so much that I start feeling it. Even though it's not my fault that he's being so dishonest. But do you remember this clip that I'm going to show you of Lindsey Graham on the verge of tears? As what you'll hear here is people were sort of heckling in the audience of Hannity's live show. But as he's begging after the Alvin Bragg indictment for people to donate to Trump. Well, he had another one of those. So we'll get to the latest round of Lindsey Graham saying, oh, God, please donate. But as a reminder, this was last time. While you're watching, please do click the subscribe button as we're trying before the election to get to 1 million subscribers. If you're not already subscribed, please do it.
Calls a unreliable dirtbag. So what's behind all this? Hatred. They tried to destroy Kavanaugh because they wanted to keep the Supreme Court seat open. They're trying to destroy Donald Trump because they fear him at the ballot box. To the conservatives out there, make sure you vote. If you got friends, make sure they vote. If you don't have any friends, go make some friends. But you need to...
Why say that? Oh, I forgot this clip is so wacky. If you don't have any friends, I know. Go make some.
Help this man, Donald J. Trump. They're trying to drain him dry. He spent more money on lawyers than most people spend on campaigns. They're trying to bleed him dry. DonaldJTrump.com. Go tonight. Give the president some money to fight this bullshit. This is going to destroy America. We're going to fight back at the ballot box. We're not going to give in. How does this end, Sean? Trump wins in court. And he wins the election. That's how this ends.
And how do you get to 34 counts on this in your view?
What a disaster that night was. Okay, so now he's back begging people for money. Here he is.
We're getting creamed.
Kind of weird choice of words.
We're getting creamed. We're getting outspent 4 and 5 and 6 and 8 and 10 to 1. The conservative world needs to step up and help these men and women who are running for the Senate to help President Trump. I'm going to give $600 tonight. We're getting...
Okay. Go, please. Than this.
I think Donald Trump would be the best commander-in-chief of anybody available on the planet based on his performance before.
You know what? Actually, go back to this, Jaden. That's the perfect face, okay? Because that's as unserious as the points that he's making. You said Trump is the best person for commander-in-chief on the planet. The only person on the planet who could do the job that Trump could do. Which part, Lindsey? The mismanaging of a global pandemic? A lot of people could do that. The massive tax cuts for wealthy folks? A lot of people could do that. The disparaging of just about every group? A lot of people could do that. Going on to be found liable for sexual abuse? Less people could do that. Well, a lot of people could, but a lot of people wouldn't, hopefully. Maybe that's what you mean in terms of him being in this special category of his own. Calling for the termination of the Constitution. I think he's the only presidential candidate who's ever done that. So now I'm really getting to see sort of how unique he is. Then you have this.
What about the Supreme Court? If he's president of the United States with a Republican Senate, we can have a generation of conservatives on the Supreme Court. This is a very big deal to shape the court for the next generation.
That phrase there, he's right. This could shape the Supreme Court for a generation. That should be what wins Harris the election, is that people should understand how this is so consequential for the Supreme Court. More on that here.
If we can get to 53 or 54 senators, it changes the future of the Supreme Court, the judiciary, and it makes Trump's presidency far more successful.
Yeah. This, given what Americans polling indicates, believe about the Supreme Court's actions in recent years, number one, it doesn't seem super strategic to be advertising that for Lindsey Graham. Because, yeah, the base will like that, but most moderates will not. Imagining this being our Supreme Court and maybe even more extreme for the decades to come. But we do need to keep in mind, it's sometimes hard in these political discussions to remember just how many things are at stake and to remember going through them with people. But I think most people you're talking to don't know if they're going to go vote, kind of on the fence, reminding them of that we could see decades of conservative rule on the Supreme Court if Trump wins, and what that could do to the rights of people and on so many crucial issues. It should motivate people to go vote. One little miscellaneous thing. Actually, let's go through a couple miscellaneous things. First, Mark Robinson, the Republican gubernatorial candidate in North Carolina, who was exposed for on that porn site, talking in the chat place on the site about how he identifies as a black Nazi and wants slavery to come back and all this crazy stuff. But he had an interaction with a voter that I found really, really interesting.
Somebody's blood sugar's low. I know that sounds. Somebody eating too many French fries in here. They look good. I might join you right now. You can do it, every Yep.
When we gonna make diabetes supplies affordable?
Huh? Me too.
As a type 1,
Me too.
I'd like to spend less than $800 a box of insulin.
Yes, sir.
Why don't you try pushing through legislation for that?
We might try to do that. We can do that, and your legislatures will write the bill and pass it. We'll get it passed, and we'll sign it.
Republicans have always all voted no on that. Only Democrats have voted yes for lowering.
I don't know whether or not I agree with that wholeheartedly. You'd have to show me where Republicans refuse to let people pay less for medicine and more for medicine. So, yeah, that was gonna be my next statement. Nobody came here to see you, so please be quiet.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You guys don't like to answer good, hard questions. I get it. You just want an echo.
Sit down. Get out of here.
We want you to leave. That's what we want.
Yeah, so him getting upset at a voter for daring to say, hey, could you do something to lower my insulin costs? The exorbitant prices people have to pay for that and other prescription drugs. And the voter aptly pointing out, hey, it's always Republicans who block attempts to lower costs on insulin. The federal attempt to cap the cost, like we did for Medicare recipients, for seniors, of insulin failed only because Republicans gutted it from the bill. But he says, no one came here to hear you talk. Actually, that's normally what these sorts of town halls are for, is people ask questions and you answer them. And then Mark Robinson tries to get away with saying, show me an example of when Republicans refuse to let people pay less. As if someone's going to get insulin for cheaper on Republican. Are you saying they voted to raise the price explicitly? Of course not. But you are allowing for price gouging when you're refusing to engage in attempts to lower costs for people. So why? One other miscellaneous thing I've been meaning to talk about. There's this thing that's going on in online left media. And because of how dishonest and non-evidential MAGA media is so constantly, I think that should serve not as guidance for how we act. Oh, well, they're doing it, so we're going to do fact-free stuff. But instead, a reminder of why it's so important that we don't allow our space to become tainted by fact-free theories or even things that are sort of phrased as kind of joking. And so I've heard some people from Trump's Fox interview, you can show this on screen, point to Trump here, and it looks like there's something on the couch there. And they'll point to this and say that that's a black towel. And people are going all in. And again, a lot of these people, I'm even friends with some of them. I say this with love and respect. But we have to hold ourselves to a higher standard than saying that was put down because Trump's pooping himself. Which is, I know some are saying it ironically, and then some friends of the show, the Lincoln Project, said, is that a pad he's sitting on to protect the couch? And then I saw a lot of people thinking it was a serious thing and saying, yeah, Trump's pooping himself, haha. But if you look at when he moves his body, it's his suit jacket. You can see it right, abundantly clearly there. Look at this. There's no towel down. And today is not the day we're going to get into other stuff, but there are examples of other times people just to sort of push theories to make Trump's bad enough, people. We can just be honest about him, honest about his mental decline, honest about all those things without pushing nonsense, fake stories, or pushing them sometimes as a joke, but then people take it seriously. Let's just be fact-based. It's like the times that people were pushing this idea that Laura Loomer and Trump were having an affair. There's no evidence of that. We have to hold ourselves to a high standard. Otherwise, we're going to devolve into the MAGA stuff. It always either starts as joke or starts as mockery. And then I saw legitimate ideas and theories from people that he was sitting on a black towel when it was just his suit jacket. And then they were saying it's because he's pooping himself. It's like, that's how you make people go, oh, I can't believe anything, because everyone's saying lies. Let's be a higher standard than that. But factually, there's plenty to say about Trump that convinces people he should not be president ever again. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Support the show. Get the members only bonus show by clicking the join button below.